Hey, my name is May, and I live out of my 2013 Nissan Altima. And right now, I am not in my Nissan Altima. I'm in a transit van. Look how big it is. With my friend Casey. Say hey.
Hi.
And we are headed to a museum. Horse Cave Museum. So I didn't record an intro, but I did record some of the things that I did this morning. Casey and I just sat and drank coffee and chatted and told each other our life stories. Mm-hmm. But there were no tears. So there's always that. there are no tears. But right now we're heading to the museum, and I guess I will show you guys some videos there. Piper's with us. She's all ready. I think she likes being a van dog. She might like this. But here we go. Alright, y'all, welcome to the American Cave Museum in Horse Cave, Kentucky. This spot is all about caves, how they're formed, the impact of pollution, and even some cool and kind of creepy stuff like quicksand. So with caves, they just don't appear overnight. They take thousands of years to form, especially in places like Kentucky where there's a ton of limestone underground. Rainwater mixes with carbon dioxide from the air and the soil, making it slightly acidic. And over time, this water seeps into the ground and slowly dissolves into limestone, creating underground tunnels and massive caves like the ones around here. Oh, look, underground water roots. This is kind of cool. But here's the problem. Karst areas are super vulnerable to pollution. Since water moves so fast through these underground systems, anything that gets dumped on the surface, like trash, chemicals, sewage, any of that, can end up contaminating the groundwater. And that's exactly what happened here at Hidden River Cave, right under this town. Back in the day, it was so polluted from industrial waste, it had to be closed off completely in 1943. The smell alone was probably unbearable. Luckily, around sometime in the 90s, a huge cleanup effort brought the cave back to life. Now, instead of being one of the most populated caves in the US, it's an example of how conservation can actually turn things around. Honestly, pretty interesting to see what a community can do when they all come together. This museum did a really good job of explaining all this in a way that makes you actually think about how important caves are and why we need to protect them. It's wild to see how connected everything is, from the water we drink to the ground beneath our feet. All right, y'all. So that's it for this section, but there's still plenty to see. Let's keep exploring Kentucky's cave country. So right in the middle of town, literally under the streets, is Hidden River Cave. You'd never guess this massive cave system is just chilling beneath people's homes and businesses. Back in the day, this cave was actually a water source for the town, but as the town grew, so did pollution, and let's just say, it got real bad down there for a while, like I said earlier. Hey!
I just find it so ingenious right here.
That's the crazy part, is like right up there, people are living. But now that it's been cleaned up, you can actually hear the underground river again. It's kind of crazy to think about how much life exists beneath the surface. Water constantly flowing, bats hanging out, and even rare species that have adapted to living in total darkness.
Like, no. I don't think so.
This is so nice. And it goes way down there.
I wonder what that pipe on the
Piper, of course, was leading the way like the adventure dog she is. She's probably wondering why we keep going into these dark holes in the ground instead of just taking a normal walk. But it's so wild to think about people living their daily lives right above this. Like, imagine waking up, making coffee, and just casually having an entire underground river beneath you. Kentucky's cave systems are massive. This one connects to even bigger cave networks stretching for miles. Okay, so this elevator, sketch level high. I don't know about y'all, but I was not about to test my luck with this thing. Walking seemed like a safer bet for both me and Casey. But Casey was just vibing, waving at the camera like we weren't standing in a giant hole in the earth. I love that for her. Back inside the museum, we came across one of the wildest and most tragic cave exploration stories about Floyd Collins. Back in 1925, he got trapped while exploring a narrow passage in a cave nearby, and his story became the biggest media events of the time. Newspapers covered it non-stop, with reporters literally camping outside the cave, turning it into a full-on spectacle. Sadly, after 2 weeks of rescue attempts, he didn't make it out, but his story is a huge part of caving history and a big reason why cave safety is such a major thing now. Of course, while the world was watching the rescue efforts, the newspapers still had their usual mix of headlines. Like, you could read about Colin's struggle for survival right next to an ad for men's spring suits for $9.95 and pants for $2.98. Oh, and apparently Indiana was out here passing anti-nun bills. The 1920s were crazy. Next, we checked out some more info on Mammoth Cave itself. And if you don't know, Mammoth Cave is one of the longest, well, it is the longest cave system in the world. And I'm talking 400 miles of mapped passages. And apparently they're still discovering more. A lot of caves in this region are actually connected, forming this massive underground network beneath Kentucky. One of the coolest things in this section was learning about the cave's wildlife. A lot of animals down here have adapted in ways that are seen straight out of a sci-fi movie. There are fish and insects that are completely colorless and blind because what's the point of having color and eyesight when you live in total darkness? And of course, there were bats, which, fun fact, aren't blind, despite the whole blind as a bat saying. This museum did a great job of making this fun and interactive. You can light up different parts of the display to see the kinds of creatures and that these caves call home. It definitely made me appreciate how unique and fragile these ecosystems are. So, right in the middle of me checking out the bats exhibit, Piper suddenly alerted me. Turns out my heart rate had spiked. Classic POTS moment. If you don't know, POTS, or postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, basically means my body doesn't regulate blood flow properly. So things like standing too long or sudden movement can make my heart rate jump way higher than it should.
That's her signals when she lays down too.
So when she shakes, it tells me that my heart rate is going up, but when she lays down, it typically means sit down. Yeah.
Piper is trained to pick up these changes before I even realize what's happening. She has a few ways of alerting me. Sometimes she'll nudge me, lick my hand, or like today, she'll just stop and stare at me and lay down until I listen. After taking a minute to sit and let things level out, I was good to go again. It's moments like these that remind me of just how much I rely on Piper. She really is the best. But okay. Let's get back to the caves. Okay guys, so we just got back from the cave tour. It was so much fun, and now we are back at camp.
we're getting ready to make, I guess, lunch, dinner. We're gonna kind of combine some things. So I will be making the rice. Casey will be making chicken and maybe some broccoli. And it's been really like this all day. So it's been raining off and on. So I don't know how much outside time we're gonna get today. We might not sit by the fire. But we'll see. We'll see. Right now it just feels like wet. Yeah.
So the plan was to cook outside, but apparently the wind had other ideas. Trying to light a stove in this weather, not happening. So I ended up cooking alongside Casey in her Sprinter instead.
Yeah, it was too windy out for me outside, so we had to come in. So Casey and I are cooking together. Food
is our friend.
We haven't eaten all day. Well,
we didn't have anything too fancy, like I said, just some chicken, rice, and broccoli situation. But honestly, after all that working, it hit. We sat down at the table to eat, which, let's be real, felt like luxury after spending the morning climbing in and out of caves.
Everything's dying. I don't know what's going on.
All right, guys. So we had lunch. We sat and chilled and talked for a bit, and now we just sat here like we were explorers and made a whole Google Map itinerary to go find the quilts. What's it called?
Barn Quilt Tour.
The Barn Quilt
Hart County.
The barn. I can't even say it. Barn.
Barn Quilt Tour.
Barn Quilt Tour of Hart County. We got it. Barn Quilt Tour of Hart County, period. All right, so we're getting ready to go do that. It should be about a 30-minute drive, and I guess they're just on the side of people's houses. At some point, I'll find some literature and read it to you guys about it. Maybe during the pictures, if I remember to do that. But let's go.
So the plan after lunch was to go on the Barn Quilt Tour, hit up 6 locations, check out all these beautifully painted quilt designs displayed on bars around the inner. Sounds simple, right? Well, it should have been. The first 3 stops, complete fails. No barn quilts in sight, just a lot of sketchy back roads, random driveways, and a whole lot of "are we even supposed to be here" vibes.
No quilt down this very crazy road. Casey.
In a quarter mile, turn left to stay on East-West Hatcher.
Casey is maneuvering this thing, y'all. She is a pro with her Pro Master.
Oh my goodness. Cabin.
The cows are looking at us like, why are you here? And now we know why. Should we write a letter?
Even know why.
Should we write a letter? Letting them know that they need to change this?
Something. Yes, you would think it'd be right on that one.
Yeah. Smith Farm. No quilts. Phase 1, bust.
Phase 1 is a bust. All right, try again.
At one point, we ended up on what definitely felt like someone's private property. There was literally a sign that said so. So that was our cue to turn around immediately. Not exactly what we were hoping for, but hey, at least the drive was pretty.
So that was definitely a bust. We went to like 3 of them, and none of them could we find the quilts. So we're just assuming that maybe they're not up right now. We didn't go to the rest of them that we had planned because if the first 3 weren't there, we figured the other 3 were not going to be there. So we're just back at camp. It's not raining yet. So I think we're going to go and check out those teepees real quick and see what they're about. We might go do that. Yeah.
Like a plaster.
Oh. Oh wow. That's like a kitchen area.
Yeah, a little seating area, and the steps are right there. So
Let's
there's
go up.
windows in the back.
After our failed attempt at the Barn Quilt Tour, we just went back to the KOA and checked out what the campground had to offer. They had a teepee rental, which we, of course, had a peek into from the window like the curious people we are. But the real highlight, the campground animals. We came across a super friendly donkey, 2 turkeys just sitting around like they owned the place, and a horse that was all about making friends. Piper even got to meet the horse, and they had the cutest little nose-to-nose moment. But honestly, this was probably her favorite part of the day. Mine too, if we're being honest.
Can you guys believe that I've been living in my car for over a year and moving and traveling, and one thing that I do not know how to do is make a fire. So we just took a walk around the campground. I didn't take any pictures or videos except for the ones that you've seen with us petting the animals. So we just walked around the campground, and now we're back at our campsite, and Casey is going to teach me how to make a fire because I don't know how. So we're about to learn.
Empty toilet paper roll,
Uh-huh.
dryer lint, stuff it full, a dryer sheet on each end,
Okay.
and then it does a slow burn to heat the wood up.
Nice.
This is a starting stick
Okay.
that it came with. Have you ever heard of a solo stove?
No.
It's like a tabletop where you can burn wood or pellets in it. You can do s'mores and stuff over it,
No,
but
I've
it's if
never
you have
heard
like
of that.
burn hazards, then you don't do an open fire. It's still an open fire, but you can do them on countertops. You can do them on patios.
And now we have a fire. Casey the fire starter. Go Casey!
I am no arsonist. But yeah, they seem to work really well just to keep that heated underneath there. But yeah, it's kind of... I'm still questioning the dryer, if there's actually need for the dryer things.
I wonder if we just need the length and not the dryer sheet.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I think Susan tried it too, and she had some ideas. Have to have that
The whole fire
conversation.
starter kit. All right, y'all. So that is the end of day 1. It was so much fun today. Although we didn't get to see the quilt, I still had a great time at the cave. We just were sitting by the fire for a little bit. We were able to get a fire started. It took us a while, but we were able to get it started. But it just started to rain, and it's about 8:30, so we decided to just call it a night. So I didn't drive today, so my car is still fully put together for bed. I just need to lay it all out and we should be fine. But I really had a great time. Tomorrow I will be headed to the shower. I will be I have to work tomorrow for a couple of hours, and then we will be going on the Lost Cave tour. We have reservations there to go see it, so that's what we'll be doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first part of the video, and yeah, I think that's it. Okay. We came in right on time. It's crazy out there. You can't. Ah, it's so crazy.